In the complex arsenal of modern European defense, one weapon has captured global attention like few others: the Taurus KPD-350. This is a powerful air-to-surface cruise missile, engineered and built in Germany. For years, it has been a cornerstone of the German Air Force, a symbol of the country's advanced technological capabilities. The name Taurus comes from the Latin word for bull, and it perfectly describes the missile's purpose: to charge forward with immense force and precision, breaking through the toughest of defenses. It represents a significant feat of military engineering, designed to give an air force the ability to strike deep behind enemy lines without putting its pilots in immediate danger, which is honestly a crucial advantage in any conflict. The Taurus missile is not just another piece of military hardware, it is a strategic tool of immense potential. It is launched from fighter jets, like the F-16s that Ukraine now operates, and can travel vast distances. Official specifications state its range is over 500 kilometers, or about 300 miles. However, many military experts believe its true reach is even greater, possibly extending to 700 or even 800 kilometers. This incredible range allows it to hit high-value targets far from the front lines. It flies low to the ground, using a sophisticated navigation system to hug the terrain and evade enemy radar, making it exceptionally difficult to detect and intercept before it reaches its destination. What truly sets the Taurus apart is its remarkable warhead, known as Mephisto. This isn't just a simple explosive, it's a highly intelligent and programmable system. The warhead is designed to penetrate hardened structures such as concrete bunkers or reinforced bridges. It has a unique capability where it can be programmed to count the layers of a structure it passes through before detonating. This means it can breach the outer shell of a target and explode deep inside, causing maximum internal damage. This feature makes it particularly effective against command centers, ammunition depots, and critical infrastructure that an adversary has tried to protect deep underground or behind thick walls. For Ukraine, the prospect of receiving the Taurus has long been a major strategic goal. The missile's capabilities are perfectly suited to some of its most pressing military objectives. The most talked about target has always been the Crimean Bridge, a vital supply artery for Russian forces in occupied Crimea, and a powerful symbol of the 2014 annexation. While Ukraine has managed to damage the bridge with other weapons, the Taurus is seen as the one system with the power and precision to potentially destroy it completely. Its long range would also allow Ukrainian forces to strike Russian military bases far from the battlefield, disrupting supply lines and weakening the launch sites from which attacks on Ukrainian cities originate. For a long time, the story of the Taurus missile was a story of German reluctance. Under the leadership of former Chancellor Olaf Scholz, the German government consistently refused Ukraine's requests for the weapon. This position was repeated many times throughout 2023 and 2024. Chancellor Scholz's main concern was the risk of escalation. He feared that if Ukraine used the long-range German missile to strike targets deep inside Russian territory, it could be seen as a direct act of German aggression. This, he argued, might pull Germany and its NATO allies into a direct conflict with Russia, a scenario that European leaders have worked tirelessly to avoid since the full-scale invasion began. This cautious approach created a significant and often heated debate within Germany itself. While Scholz and his Social Democratic Party, the SPD, held firm to their position, their own coalition partners had different ideas. Key figures in the Green Party and the Free Democratic Party, including prominent ministers like Annalena Baerbock and Robert Habeck, publicly supported sending the missiles. They argued that providing Ukraine with the best possible tools for its self-defense was not an act of escalation, but a necessary step to help a sovereign nation repel an aggressor. This internal disagreement within the ruling coalition highlighted a deep divide in German politics over how best to support Ukraine. The pressure on the German government was not just political, it was also public. As the war dragged on, a growing number of German citizens began to feel that their country was not doing enough. They saw the relentless Russian attacks on Ukrainian cities and felt a moral obligation to provide more substantial aid. This sentiment culminated in events like the large protest in Berlin on March 9, 2025, where thousands gathered to demand that the government finally approve the delivery of Taurus missiles. For these protesters, the missile was more than just a weapon. It was a symbol of solidarity and a tangible way to help Ukraine protect its people. The debate in Germany reflected a broader European conversation about the limits of military support. Chancellor Scholz often stated, "We must not be linked in any way or at any place with the targets that this system achieves." This desire to maintain distance from the missile's use stood in contrast to the policies of allies like the United Kingdom and France, who had already supplied their own long-range cruise missiles, Storm Shadow and Scalp. The discussion in the German Bundestag became a focal point for this European dilemma, weighing the responsibility to help an ally against the fear of triggering a wider, more devastating war. The political landscape in Germany underwent a dramatic change in early 2025. Following an early federal election on February 23rd, a new government was formed, and Friedrich Merz of the Christian Democratic Union became the new chancellor in May. This change in leadership immediately signaled a potential shift in Germany's foreign policy, particularly concerning military aid to Ukraine. Where the previous government had been defined by caution, the new coalition appeared more willing to take a robust stance. The world watched closely to see if years of debate over the Taurus missile would finally come to an end. The change at the top offered a new sense of hope to officials in Kiev. The decisive moment came on May 29, 2025. During a joint press conference in Berlin with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, Chancellor Merz made a landmark announcement. He declared that the delivery of Taurus missiles to Ukraine was now within the realm of possibility. This statement marked a clear break from the steadfast refusal of his predecessor. Even more significantly, Merz stated that Germany, in coordination with its key allies, would no longer impose range restrictions on the weapons supplied to Ukraine. This meant Kiev would have the freedom to use these systems to defend itself by striking legitimate military targets even outside its own borders, which is honestly a major strategic policy shift. Following this announcement, Germany backed its words with substantial action. On June 12, 2025, the government pledged a new military aid package for Ukraine, valued at an impressive $2.2 billion. This package was seen as a clear signal of Germany's renewed commitment to Ukraine's defense. The new government also expressed support for the joint production of long-range weapons, including the Taurus, in facilities located in both Germany and Ukraine. This move was not just about supplying existing stockpiles, but about building a sustainable long-term defense partnership that would empower Ukraine to produce its own advanced weaponry for the future. However, as of today, June 21, 2025, the final confirmation of the Taurus missile's delivery has not yet been made. Chancellor Merz later clarified that his initial statements were about the permissions granted by allies in 2024, not necessarily an imminent new delivery. This has left some uncertainty. Despite the powerful rhetoric and the significant shift in policy, the missiles themselves have not yet arrived in Ukraine. The journey of the Taurus has been long and filled with political hurdles, and it seems there may be a few more steps to take before these powerful weapons are officially in Ukrainian hands, ready to be deployed in the country's defense. Over the course of a long and difficult debate, the Taurus missile became something much more than a piece of military hardware. For many in Ukraine, it evolved into a powerful symbol of hope. It represented the kind of advanced, decisive weapon they believed could fundamentally alter the course of the war in their favor. The missile's unique capabilities, especially its potential to neutralize the Crimean Bridge, made it a focal point of their strategic desires. Each refusal from Berlin was a source of disappointment, while every hint of a policy change sparked renewed optimism. The Taurus became a benchmark for the level of support Ukraine hoped to receive from its most powerful European partners. In Germany, the missile became a symbol of a different kind. It represented a deep national debate about the country's role in the world and its responsibilities as a European power. The long hesitation under Chancellor Scholz reflected a deep-seated German apprehension about military entanglement, a legacy of the country's 20th century history. However, the growing public and political pressure to send the missile showed a nation grappling with a new reality. The debate forced Germans to confront difficult questions about pacifism, deterrence, and the moral imperative to stand with a nation under attack. The Taurus became a proxy for this larger identity crisis. The eventual policy shift under Chancellor Merz in May 2025 marked a symbolic turning point for Germany. By opening the door to Taurus deliveries and removing range restrictions, the new government signaled a departure from the era of Wandel durch Handel, or change through trade, and a move towards a more assertive foreign policy. It was an acknowledgement that in the face of aggression, strategic ambiguity and hesitation were no longer viable options. It positioned Germany more firmly alongside its allies like the United Kingdom, France and the United States, ready to share a greater portion of the burden in upholding European security and international law. Ultimately, the story of the Taurus missile is a story of how a weapon can embody the political and emotional currents of a continent at a crossroads. For Ukraine, it remains a symbol of the powerful assistance it needs to secure its future. For Germany, it has become a symbol of its own evolution, a nation moving from a position of cautious restraint to one of resolute solidarity. While the missiles may not be considered the single game-changer they once were, due to Ukraine's own advancing capabilities, their symbolic weight remains immense. Their potential delivery represents a powerful message of unity and a shared determination to see Ukraine prevail.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to Always Mabel Canada and click the notification bell to get notified every time we upload all the amazing videos. See you next time.